Welcome back to PJ Chen Design. This is PJ. In this video, I'll show you how to build facet stone shape in the Rhino and use them as a link for bracelet design, including how to reduce the metal weight in the back. Are you ready? Let's get started. Before we started, I would like to dissect this bracelet in few components. You can see it's connected by the jump ring. It may not be the best. I'm missing one here, but the jump ring is not what we are talking about here. We want to talk about each of this element right there. In the back of the element, you can have some design, and they can be universal, or they can cut it based on the shape of it. So I would like to show you how to create a shape, how to creating this guard in the back for more comfortable wear. So that's starting from the scratch. In this bracelet design, you can do any shape that you like. Let's say you want to have a circle, that will be fine. Or you want to just copy the circle to creating an oval. That will work as well. And you can also have a rectangle one, something like this. You can also have something irregular shape, or even let's do an emerald cut looking. So we have a rectangle there for whatever size, and we wanted to use the chamfer curve, and I want to chamfer 5 on each side, so we'll get something like this. Or if you, in this case, actually I want them to be a bit bigger, so 8 by 8, and we'll get something like this to more facet looking. All right, and then we can also do irregular shape. Let's say I want to have something look like this, not so symmetrical, something like this, or you want to have a lot more shape. It's up to you, something like this. Okay, so now we have all the different shape right here. If you can see on my perspective view, they look something like this, just the curve. All right, so that's turning into the solid first. We're gonna coming into the solid. You have extruded planar curve straight, and we want to extrude them into a proper size. So let's say I want them to be 6 millimeter tall, and then we'll get something like this. All right, now let's take a look on the ghost view. You can see all of them are extrusion. So I'm gonna use the gumball. Make sure your gumball is on and holding the Control and Shift key and click on this one. It's really important you hold the Control Shift before you click on the surface. Let me do it one more time. Control and Shift, and we want to holding the Shift and 3D scale. All right, Control Shift, click on the face, and then we want to holding the Shift 3D scale down. So then we can get this facet looking. So I'm going to fast forward here. This is also a similar way if you want to make custom stone for the rendering purpose. And this is the top portion of the things that you wanted to make. All right, so right now we have all of this. If we are making a bracelet out of this, it's gonna be super heavy, so we need to make them hollow. The easiest ways is using the shell command. And the thickness we wanted to have 1, and shell command, it doesn't exist until Rhino 5. So if you're using the older version before Rhino 5, you probably doesn't have this function, but this is really convenient, and they give you all the way the same thickness there. I do have a video I will put on the right top corner, specifically talk about the shell command. All right, once we have that, we are going to do some design for the back. All right, so I'm just gonna draw something on the bottom. I'm going to draw the curve for whatever pattern that you like. But one thing, keep in mind, your near need to be on your old snap. So when you join the curve, make sure all of them need to be connected. If you have something like almost there and or cross, something like that, it won't work and it doesn't look nice once we pipe it. So make sure you connect all of them, and then you can continue to do the design that you like, and making some turn and something like this. As long as they look like a closed form, and you will be fine. You can get it as complicated as you want it, something like this, something really random. Now if you like to have some really geometric shape, certain pattern, that will work too. I'm just trying to get some sort of a shape there. All right, now I have the curve. There's two ways to do it. If you don't have a Rhino 7, you can simply just pipe them. After you pipe them, you just need to Boolean union together. All right, what I like to do with the Rhino 7, if you do have it and you do have the subd, you have the one command called create subd multi-pipe, and we wanted to having the radius for 0.5. And then once we hit enter, it's going to ask you want a smooth, not a smooth, and we want it really smooth, so we want to type it 0 here on the command bar, and then you will get something like this. Notice that each of the connection is really nice and smooth. If you take a look on the render view, you don't see the seam there, and this will be the pattern we're going to generate it. To make it a bit thicker, I think my proportion is kind of a big here, so I'm going to use a multi-pipe one more time and just hit 1 for the radius, and I want to cap it on by click on and smoothness is 0, and then we'll get something like this. Okay, now in order to have the subd object, and this is a regular nerve object, to work together, we wanted this subd turning into the nerve first, so we're gonna convert the object to the nerves, and that will become a regular Rhino surface. As you can see, it's a bit of complicated here. So that will be our pattern. I'm going to hiding the rest of it here, and we are going to bring this pattern close to here, and apparently it's way too big, so I'm going to move it right there. And also before I do that, if you take a look on my rendering, let's take a look on the render view, you're going to see that it's really harsh edge there. All right, and it won't look good on your rendering. So what I like to do is to give them instead of feather edges, I would like to give them a chamfer edges. And for chamfer edges, I don't need something really big. I might just want to have 0.4 as my radius coming to my top view. Beside the bottom edges there, I want everybody to be 0.4 facet there. Once we have it, if you take a look on the render view one more time, you're going to see I have a little bit facet, and the light will catch on those facets, and the rendering will look much nicer. All right, so back to our front view coming over here. I'm going to moving this pattern right in the center of the object. And then if you take a look, I wanted to make sure on the bottom is completely flat. So let me go ahead to using the box first to trim the bottom to be flat. And we wanted to have something cover the entire area. So I simply just going to use the Boolean different. This one difference out from the box, so at least I can make sure the bottom of the piece is flat. Then I wanted to move it back close to my object. Now you can do is you can use a align tool to align to the top and just go to the edge. But I do not like the seam is overlapping, usually create some problem for the Boolean. So I would like to move it down minus 0.01, and this is really little hard to see, but it's there. Okay, so let's give it a try. Let me making a copy to this one first, and let's take a look at the front view. We are going to use a Boolean split, so this pattern is going to be split by this one here, and then we can delete all the extra that we don't need it, like those kind of things hanging out there. We can delete them. If they hang into the edge, we can delete them. So let's take a look on our perspective. You can going to see this fitting into the back really nicely. So we are going to do exactly the same thing for the rest of them. That's coming into the front view, and I'm going to make a bunch of a copy, something like this. Hit the Alt key. Again, you can use in the gumbo, hit the Alt key, and or you can stretch this one so it doesn't feel like it's too much empty space right there. And then again, you can pick up this one, bring to here, hit the Alt key to get the copy there. All right, and then the rest of it will be really similar. We are going to use a Boolean split one more time, and all this little guy, the curve, is going to be split by our cutting object of all this facet stone looking metal. So now we can delete all the extra that we don't need it. So just go ahead and pick up those small pieces, and then you can delete them I found out this is the fast way to get things fit, even though sometimes I don't like to use the Boolean tool, but sometimes they do come inconvenient. If you do it correctly, you shouldn't have naked edges. So always double make sure before you print it, make sure they are all solid polished surface. All right, so once we having it, you can take a look on my render view. They fit it really nicely. Okay, now you can Boolean this one to this one if you want to, and a lot of time for the casting purpose, we do cast this piece separately and then we're fitting in there, right? So it's up to you for what you like to do. I temporarily just wanted to group them because I might wanted to apply two different material like what I had on my demo piece at the beginning of the video. Once you have them, you can start arrange them. And basically what I did is I arrange them in a circle and then make sure all the angle is corrected, rotated, spend some time, put some jump ring in the back. That's a full process for building those facet links. If you wanted to take this further and apply to your own design, you can find more information about the full program that I offer for jewelry CAD design in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next.